Hi, greetings and good day to Pon and our fellow friends. We are from Group 6. My name is Tayon Shen, SA25038, and my teammates that you will meet in this video are Li Pingtao, ST25057, and Tae Kai En, ST25072. Today, we will be walking you through Chapter 6 on capitalization, specifically how two widely used academic writing style, APA and IEEE, approach the capitalization of specialized terms. Before we dive in, let me give a quick introduction to both styles. APA, which stands for the American Psychological Association, is a writing and citation style now in its 7th edition as of 2020. It is widely used in social science, health science, and education. APA is well known for its detailed grammar and formatting rules, and it follows a strong down style preference, meaning that we will lowercase everything unless there is a specific reason to capitalize. On the other hand, IEEE, which stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, is a citation and writing standards used mainly in engineering, computer science, and technical fields. Unlike APA, IEEE uses numbered citation instead of the author-date format, and it is generally less prescriptive when it comes to grammar and capitalization rules. Let's start with disease and theories. The rule here depends on where the name comes from. If the disease or theories is named after a person, what we call an eponym, we will capitalize only that person's name and write the generic noun in lowercase. On the other hand, if the disease or disorder is descriptive, meaning that it is not named after anyone, we will lowercase the entire term. Next, disorders. For APA style, we write the whole term in lowercase for the entire running text. For IEEE, we write them as lowercase in prose, but then we will also capitalize it if it is used as title or heading. For therapies, both APA and IEEE agree that the terms should write in full name in lowercase at first use, and immediately follow it with the acronym in parentheses. After the first mention, you may use the acronym alone. And there is also one additional note here. For APA, it is more prescriptive and has explicit guidance on all of these rules, which is why it has become the go-to standard even for IEEE authors writing about medical or clinical content. What in doubt is that following APA conventions is generally the safer choice. First of all, disease. In this example sentence, we can see two types of different disease names. One is named after person, the Alzheimer's disease. According to the rule, the name should be capitalized while the disease shouldn't. For the other, hypertension and type 2 diabetes. These two are descriptive, so we only write in lowercase and no need to capitalize it. Next, theory. Similar like just now, the logic is same. If the theory is named after person, then only the name should be capitalized, while if it is descriptive, then the whole term should be write in lowercase. In this example sentence, attachment theory and self-determination theory are descriptive, so we only write it in lowercase. Next, disorder. Just like the rule just now I mentioned, for disorder, the whole term should be write in lowercase. For this example sentence, the borderline personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder should be write in lowercase but not capitalize the first word of it. Last but not least, therapy. Example in this sentence, cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR. The CBT and EMDR should be write in capital letter in parentheses. After this first mention, you may use the acronym alone for the whole text. And that's all from my part. Next, I will passing the presentation to my teammate Li Pingtao.
Thank you, Yongshen. I'm Lin Ingtao, and I will continue the presentation. For 6.17, which is titles of works and headings within works, the APS style uses two types of capitalization, which are title case and sentence case. For title case, we will capitalize every single first letter of every word in the title and also subtitles of articles, books, reports, and other works that appear in the text. As for sentence case, we use it in the reference list entries, table column headings, entries, notes, and also figure notes. For IEEE, we look at three situations. The first one is in text titles. The title must be in title case and italicize it. As for the second situation, which is titles in the reference list, for article titles, it is kept in sentence case, but for books and journals, it is in title case. And for last situation is the headings within a work. IEEE completely rejects title case for many readers. Its primary headings must be in all capital letters with a Roman numerals. We look at the example. For scenario A, which is mentioning a book title inside a paragraph, the sentence is, in his class, the professor assigned the text bilingualism across the lifespan, factors moderating language proficiency, and students must read the first three chapters before Tuesday. This sentence is wrong because the title is in the paragraph, so it must use a title case for both APS style and also IEEE style. For IEEE, note that we need to add a numerical citation. For scenario B, which is formatting a book title in the reference list, this is an example of the reference. It's not in a sentence because we cannot write a sentence in the reference. So in this APA style, it demands the sentence case for the book titles in the reference entry. So we can only capitalize the first letter of the first word of a title and also a subtitle. In this case, we can only capitalize B in bilingualism and also F in the factor. For scenario C, which is dealing with hyphenated word in titles, the sentence is, the researchers published a paper titled The Crucial Impact of Self-Report Strategies, and they presented their core data findings at the annual conference. This sentence is wrong because the self-report, it should be capitalized for both S and R in both APA and also IEEE style. For 6.18, which is titles of tests and measures, in APA, what we will do is we capitalize titles of published and also unpublished tests and measures and their subscales. But we do not capitalize words such as test and also scale unless they are part of the test of subscale title. We also do not capitalize shortened, inexact, or generic titles of test or measure. As for IEEE does not have this section because it is built for engineers and computer scientists. Generally, IEEE swap out psychological test booklets for computer code, but they kept the exact same mindset on when they capitalize a formal name versus a generic term. For example, we have scenario A, descriptive words like scale or text. The sentence is, the subjects completed the Rosenberg self-esteem scale test, so the research team began compiling the final scores. This sentence is wrong because the test shouldn't be capitalized because it isn't part of the official brand name. So we must use a lowercase in this APS style. For scenario B, which is shortened or generic test, the sentence is, before the interview, everyone took a standardized cognitive vocabulary test, yet nobody managed to get a perfect score. It's wrong because we do not capitalize a generic test. So in this case, we use lowercase for standardized cognitive vocabulary test. That's all from me. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter, Kai-En. Thank you.
Thank you, the explanation from Lee about his topic. I'm Tae Kai-en, and now I will continue to next topic, which is capitalization in nouns followed by numerals or letters. In English grammar, a common noun usually requires capitalization when it is followed by a numeral or letter that identifies it as a specific entity within a series. This combination transforms a generic label into a proper name. When a noun is followed by a numeral or a letter used to identify a specific item, it often functions as a proper name. Let's start with the core rule. The universal rule is actually very simple. When a common noun is directly followed by a specific number or letter, the combination becomes a proper name because it points to one exact item. So capitalize major sections like chapters, section, appendix, and parts when they are labeled. Minor divisions like pages, lines, or paragraphs stay lowercase. Treat figures, tables, equations, and charts as specific proper names when they are numbered. In business and engineering, specific version number, rooms, steps, or model codes are capitalized to prevent confusion. As you can see on the slide, lowercase chapter 4 or appendix B is incorrect in both styles. Whether you are writing in engineering paper for IEE or a science paper for APA, you must capitalize them as chapter 4 with capital letter C and appendix B with capital letter A. They are acting as titles for those specific structural blocks. Next, let's talk about the exceptions. Both styles agree that you do not capitalize nouns that refers to minor non-structural parts of a document. This includes words like page, line, paragraph, or not. So writing page 42 with a capital P is incorrect. In APA, it stays lowercase, page 42, line 12. In IE, you use the lowercase abbreviation for page, which is P.42, and keep line 12 lowercase as well. Next, we will look at the core rule shared by APA and IEEE and how to handle specific exceptions correctly. So our next topic is names of conditions or groups in an experiment. In experimental research, groups and conditions are the building blocks used to test a hypothesis. This is about how you label and organize this depends on the design of your study and the specific formatting requirements of your academic fields. We will start with the fundamental baseline rule. In both APA and IEE styles, generic names for conditions, treatments, or participant groups are classified as common nouns, not proper nouns. Therefore, that they must remain completely lowercase within a sentence. As you can see on the slide, capitalizing experimental group or control group mid-sentence is incorrect. Both styles guides require you to use lowercase letter here. The terms simply describe the role of the group. They aren't unique proper name. What happens if your experimental group is defined by an existing medical condition, a specific brand, or a technological platform? In these cases, you apply partial capitalization. You only capitalize the actual proper noun, such as Alzheimer's or Linus. The word that follow them, like disease group or operating or system group, remain lowercase. This is a strict rule across both APA and IEE to prevent unnecessary capital letters from clutting your text. To wrap things up, remember this simple rule of thumb. If you are describing a group or a condition in general terms, keep it lowercase. If you attach a specific number or letter to it, or if it contains a name like Alzheimer's, give it a capital letter. APA prefers to keep things text heavy and descriptive, while IEE papers might lean more heavily on number system configurations, but their linguistic rules for capitalization are completely aligned. Besides that, when writing up research data, it is incredibly tempting to capitalize terms like independent variable or main effect just to make them stand out on the page. So our next topic is names of factors, variables, and effects. In statistical modeling and experimental design, distinguish between factors, variables, and effects is essential for clear data analysis and reporting. However, doing so is one of the quickest way to flag your manuscript as unpolished. Then we will look at the general preference for lowercase text in both styles and the major area where APA and IEE completely diverge. Let's start with the rules for statistical or physical effects. Both APA and IEE treat generic names of effect as common noun. This means terms like placebo effect, interaction effect, or flow effect must remain entirely lowercase. The only exception to this rule, which is an eponym, which is an effect named after a specific person or brand. In those cases, you only capitalize the person's name, as you can see on the slide. Stroop or Doppler is capitalized because it is a proper noun, but the word effect itself stays lowercase in both styles. Moving on to variables. When you are describing your variables conceptually in the main body text of your paper, they follow the exact same logic. They are common nouns. Whether you are discussing your independent variable, dependent variable, or specific measure traits like heart rate and age, keep them completely lowercase. An exception in APA occurs only if you are referencing the exact verbatim title of a standardized subscale from a published test, such as scores on the extraversion scale. Otherwise, stick to lowercase. And so that's all from us. Thank you for listening.